It is official. Our government, now run by radicals, operates like a third world country. The United States Capitol Police appears to be illegally investigating Republican members of Congress. This is stunning to the core. Our Democrat-controlled government is now officially out of control. Republican Congressman Troy Nehls, his experience has now prompted an Inspector General review of the Capitol Police, Nehls says. Capitol Police officers, he says, illegally entered his office, took pictures of private documents and whiteboard used by the congressional staff in his office. The police filed a report against him, citing, quote, suspicious writings mentioning body armor. That had to do with proposed legislation, by the way. The police obviously didn't mention that. These Gestapo or Capitol Police, it's hard to tell which now, returned again later to question staff members. Nehls says the allegations are frightening, okay? A sitting member of Congress targeted by Capitol Police, overseen, of course, by Nancy Pelosi. Her quest to punish opposition is unrelenting. And Capitol Police's apparent willingness to take part in this goon-like behavior is nothing short of chilling. So the stunning report has alarmed the GOP, as well it should. 7 Republican lawmakers, more joining on to this letter, have penned a letter to the Capitol Police Board demanding answers about Capitol Police surveillance of Republicans, pointing out in that letter that, quote, intelligence collection on individuals who are conducting legislative activities protected under Article 1 would raise serious constitutional and legal questions. 2 of the Republican lawmakers who signed on to that letter join me now. Republican Congressman from Georgia, Barry Loudermilk, also Republican Congressman from Illinois, Rodney Davis. Congressman, welcome to the program. Congressman Loudermilk, let's start with you. What went through your mind the moment you heard about this?
I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I was highly offended. This is just like your previous guest said. This is the thing that third world governments do when they start spying on their political opponents to dig up dirt. But this is what Nancy Pelosi has been doing as she has turned the House of Representatives, the people's house, into her own private dictatorship. She has, besides what's happened recently with Troy Nehls, that is a blatant violation of the U.S. Constitution speech and debate clause, which protects members of Congress during their legislative duties from investigation, just like what we saw happen. And she has no respect for the Constitution or other members of Congress. It's all about her power.
It sure is, and it sure seems to be that way with everything she does, including profiting off her own position. Congressman Davis, I'm going to play a soundbite from Nancy Pelosi today being asked about this. Take a listen.
Congressman Nehls is saying that you have used the Capitol Police as basically weaponizing them against members of Congress, basically monitoring them.
Okay, don't waste your time. I have no power over the Capitol Police. Does anybody not know that? The Capitol Police have responded to that gentleman's allegation, and that stands as what it is. But I have no power over the police. Thank you all very much.
Congressman Davis, your response to Speaker Pelosi.
That was an outright lie coming out of Speaker Pelosi's mouth. I'm not surprised she ended the press conference right after that question. She hires the House Sergeant at Arms. The House Sergeant at Arms is the chairman of the Capitol Police Board, which governs the security decisions in and around the Capitol. The Capitol Police Chief is only an ex officio member of that Capitol Police Board. Speaker Pelosi and her team are in complete control of what happens around the House campus, be it COVID, the different COVID responses between the House and the Senate, or the security posture. And what happened to our colleague, Congressman Nehls, I'm really looking forward to that IG investigation coming out. Yeah. And IG, I got to give him a lot of credit. He's done a good job, and Barry and I, as members of that oversight committee, the House Administration Committee, can tell you that.
Well, I'm looking forward to that report as well. I think a lot of people are. Congressman Loudermilk, the Capitol Police deny all of this. They say, hey, we were just simply doing a security check, but they admit to taking photos of this. The reality is we now live in a world where I have a really hard time believing anything coming out of that agency right now, especially after January 6th.
Yeah, this is not the officers on the ground. There's some good people, and Rodney will tell you this. We know some personally, and they have to be offended by what's going on. But the fact that they took pictures in a congressman's office is a violation of the Constitution. Even Nancy Pelosi said so in 2006 when a Democrat's office was raided by the FBI and documents were taken and was in a criminal investigation. She was offended by that and said, yes, members of Congress can be investigated for crimes, but it has to be done according to the Constitution. And so she agreed with it when it goes after one of her own. But when it's a Republican, I have no control over this whatsoever.
Yeah. Congressman Davis, the last word here. Am I overstating this when I say this is behavior of third world countries? This is how dictators act against their political foes.
Well, that's why we're going to get to the bottom of it, Grant. And as a matter of fact, if we can't get the answers we need, the speaker continues to block responses coming from law enforcement officials. When we take the majority, if we are blessed to win the majority after the November elections, Barry and I are going to lead the House Administration Committee, and we will subpoena those officials to get the answers that America deserves. But Barry's right, Grant. Barry and I wouldn't be alive today without the brave Capitol Police officers who ran toward gunfire so we could run away from it a few years ago on a baseball field. It's not the rank and file members. They're just as frustrated as we are. There's a distinct leadership problem within the entire security apparatus at the Capitol, and we're going to get our questions answered sooner or later.
And I agree with you on that leadership problem. And unfortunately, it's not just that agency, but many agencies across the federal government. The leadership has become so politicized and so run by elite, establishment, entrenched bureaucrats that the American people are no longer being served. Thank you both for coming on the program, speaking out about this, and keep up the fight. We appreciate the work you both do up there.
Thank you, Grant.
Thanks.